Well, let's get to our first point of discussion today, very interestingly, with a focus on enhanced trade relations and fostering economic cooperation and promoting investment opportunities. Lagos State's presence at the U.S.-Africa Business Summit underscores its commitment to leveraging international partnerships for economic advancement and forging strategic alliances with key stakeholders from the United States and across Africa. This not only highlights the state's proactive approach to economic diplomacy, but also underscores its determination drive inclusive growth and prosperity for its residents. Let's get talking now, and joining me from the United States of America, Dallas, particular, I have the Lagos State Commissioner for Cooperatives, Trade and Investment in Lagos. That is Mrs. Folashade Ambrose-Medebem. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, it's morning over there, and thank you so much for your time. We understand how this is. Well, let's get to our topic of discourse. Lagos has showcased its readiness for investment, the ongoing U.S.-Africa Summit. That's clear. But in practical terms, would you tell us how ready is a center of excellence to attract business and investment?
Lagos State is in a very, very ever-ready position, bearing in mind the fact that Lagos is already in motion to become Africa's model megacity. Lagos State, as you know, under the governorship of Mr. Babajide Olusola grew its GDP from 27 trillion to 41 trillion within the last 4 years of his administration. And obviously, Lagos is also the 5th largest economy in Africa. And quite frankly, in spite of the fact that we're surrounded by water and the smallest in terms of the state, we remain the economic capital of Lagos in terms of commerce, trade, finance, and being the international gateway for investment. So I think that just validates the statement that we're open and ready for business.
So a series of meetings and all of that. But I'd like to ask you, when we have forums like this, many will say a lot of talk, and some will say it could be a talk shop. What are you putting pen to paper? Are you getting agreements? How will this translate to Naira and Kobo in practical terms?
Well, obviously, with any sort of investment, there's an initial engagement that is fundamental to sort of accelerating investment, actual investments coming through. And so what we've been doing really is engaging, showcasing. I'm sure you can see, and we'll send you a number of shots later on with a lot of the engagement we have. We have an exhibition stand. We've been attending very, very important stakeholder engagement meetings. One, for example, being around and framed around infrastructural development. Obviously, Lagos State has really led the charge in this across Nigeria. For instance, with the mass rail transit system, that Lagos State actually, for the first time, as you know, in the world, Mr. Governor actually put that on our balance sheet. And so obviously, when we're talking about the launch of the Blue Rail line, which obviously transports a number of citizens in the thousands, I think around 15,000 per day, and we're on track with the other phases to ensure that we start to at least transport over 400,000 to 500,000 per day once we finish the remaining 7 lines. And obviously, phase 2, the red line, has also been launched with an envelope size of $150 million. And so with that as an example, we've illustrated that as a fact. And the fact that there are a number of other areas of sectors for investment are there, it was quite impressive. And we've been speaking to some very key people and engaging with them. So I'm assuring you herewith that I'd like to say, watch this space. We have a number of people who have already committed to coming down to Lagos by way of the trade mission. We've engaged, and as we know, the Corporate Council on Africa here is actually convened formidable U.S. stakeholders and investors alike, inclusive of BFIs, etc., in order for us to have those very, very progressive discussions. And I'm happy to say that we already have a number of engagements and second meetings in order to lead this further.
Great stuff. You've touched on some infrastructure projects that are really significant, very important ones that will impact trade and, of course, facilitate investment. The Lekki Deep Sea Port is one of that, and of course the Food Hub program, something that many expect to revolutionize the economy of this state. Can you tell us where we are, how far this is crystallizing, or where are we at this point?
Well, the food logistics hub is the biggest in West Africa, 200 hectares of that. I recently was part of a delegation that we visited the location a few weeks ago. It's on track. A lot of infrastructural development has started. It's going to really ensure that we have the cold chain facility. It's going to make sure that we're able to offtake a lot of the agri products as they come across. It's also going to ensure that we actually position ourselves near the Lekki Deep Sea Port where we can actually be in a position to export the products. And quite frankly, it's also there as a, I suppose, lessons learned post-COVID, whereby if and when, and touch wood, we won't have that as a situation, you'll be able to feed the entire negotiation for the next 3 months by way of food security. So it's on track. It's a huge multi-million-dollar investment, and we have the right investors to make sure that it becomes a reality. And then also for the Lekki Deep Sea Port as well, that's approximately $1.53 million. And I'm talking about that holistically in terms of the Lekki Trade-Free Zone. It's fully automated, and obviously the necessary infrastructure by way of the roads, etc., ensuring that we have the right transportation system in place in terms of the trucks, etc., to make sure that actually works in a seamless manner. That is also on track as well.
That sounds good. Let's look at the tech space now, because of course you are in the African U.S.-Africa Business Summit, and of course issues around tech would definitely pop up. As much as your colleague that's a commissioner for science and tech is also doing a lot in that space, but what are the opportunities you see being the commissioner of commerce, industry, and yes, because we've seen about $3 billion or more came into the country in recent times. What are we doing more to attract? That is the space. We know that tech, that's the way to go.
Well, absolutely right. And I'm really happy and to say that the Honorable Commissioner for Science, Innovation and Tech is actually here with me. Where Lagos State is increasing its investment in the technology space by building a technology stack that will allow for more seamless integration and ensuring that it's working across a number of different platforms for across the technology community. We're also increasing the support for technology startups and enterprises by helping to create those opportunities for technology entrepreneurs. And that also includes, financing them, some of the startups, mentoring them, and that alike. We're also looking at creating a special economic zone for technology to enable a geometric increase in the technology investment across the state. And we're also working in partnership, obviously, with my ministry and the Ministry of Science, Innovation and Tech to ensure that the ease of doing business, and that's very, very important, to help to ensure that all that red tape is really being addressed. And when I also talk about the ease of doing business, I'm delighted to confirm that Lagos State has also been able to obtain the 4 completed parameters in the delivery DLI initiative across the 4 key parameters for the ease of doing business. And we're looking forward to ensuring that going forward as well, we address a number of the other KPIs that are required for the next stage.
I'd like us to stay a bit with that ease of doing business initiative, because I've followed the work of PEBEC for some time, and the parameters and all of that. So specifically, what is Lagos doing as a state to make it more conducive, more easy to do business? We have lots of this regulators and all of that. Their head offices are mostly located in Lagos. What are we doing? What are you doing as a state to make sure that this is seamless as possible?
Well, first and foremost is proactive engagement. That's very important because, as we know, feedback is very important. Engaging two-way and focusing on those key priorities are also very important. Ensuring that we're addressing some of the key bottlenecks as well. Recently, we had a corporate assembly where we invited key stakeholders and, of course, the entire business ecosystem, including the business member organizations alike. And one of the topics that we tackled extensively was around the myth of multiple taxation. So we were able to clarify and get them to distinguish between, tax levies, and ensuring that was very clear. We're also trying to look at how we can streamline and have a holistic and single source of information, and that by going to manifest by way of the one-stop shop, which we're going to set up, and that's another area that we're focusing on. And obviously, the other key parameters we're addressing, and I'd like to say that we'll share that accordingly.
Well, sounds really good. So what more should we expect from this gathering? What Lagosians are looking up to the fallout of this event? What more do you want prospective investors to know about the Center of Excellence?
Well, we'd like them to know that, as I said, Lagos State is open for business. We're the fastest growing economic capital in Africa, and there's a lot of structured investment. We have a 30-year strategy all framed around the Queen's Plus development agenda, which clearly outlines a thrust and focus of key areas for investment. And we've been able to share that categorically and also prove that a lot of those investments are already yielding the returns and in terms of ROI. And so we'd just like to say that Lagos State is open for business. There are a lot of investment opportunities, such as the Fourth Mainland Bridge. I talked to you about the Lagos Food Logistics Hub. Mr. Governor launched a groundbreaking ceremony for the Lagos State Film City Hub, which is a 100-hectare film studio ecosystem, which will include academies, universities, vocational training, etc. And just to literally say that there's a lot of opportunities. And I'm pretty sure that as a direct result of this engagement we have, we'll be hearing a lot more.
All right, we wish you all the best there. And when you return, we'll still probably have you to do some assessments of the takeout and expectations from that very important gathering. I've been speaking to Mrs. Folashade Ambrose-Medebem. She is the Commissioner for Commerce, Cooperatives, Trade and Investment, Lagos State. Joined us live from Dallas, United States of America. Do enjoy the rest of your day and have a productive one.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.